Today's ActionFeatures.net Toy Talk review is on the Mattel Batman Classic TV Series 6-inch Cesar Romero Joker figure. Alright, so we've done a few of these reviews now, so you by now know that I'm a big fan of this packaging. It's quite awesome. It's got this great Batman Classic TV Series logo here on the front. Batman and Robin painting of them walking up the wall along the side, with a little die-cut area for Batman's head, then running down with his cape there, which is awesome. And each of these packagings has a different saying from Robin on there. On this one it says, "Holy Interplanetary Yardstick!" And then down below we've got the Joker logo and this great sort of embossed bubble that has Bam, Pow, and Wham on there. So, and your carded figure, of course. And then on the back we've got, let's see, this great artwork of Joker in like a green outfit, which is kind of interesting and strange. But if I remember right, in the opening sequence of the show, as he's walking along, he's wearing a green outfit. So that's probably why they did that there. Along the back it says, "Who is the impractical Joker with a key to crime? With a maniacal laugh, a twisted sense of humor, and penchant for setting cunning traps, the Joker is one of Batman's most notoriously fiendish foes. When it comes to putting an end to the Joker's crime sprees, Batman knows firsthand that the Joker's jokes are never funny in the end." Then we got this great Joker logo, and then other figures in the line, same bat time, same bat channel. Here he is again from the front, before we take a look at the loose version. Alright, so we got Joker out of the package here. We've got this stand. His says Zap in yellow on green. And this one may end up actually being my favorite of the stands. I just think that looks really cool. And the coloring is good for Joker, the green and the yellow. Joker's card might actually be my favorite of the bunch too. It's got this really, really good artwork of Joker peeking around from behind a building. And the back of his card has more of the Batcave scene. I still don't know how this is all going to set up until we get Surf's Up Batman and Catwoman to know if they all do interconnect or what. And that would plug into the base, has this little slot in here, and the cards just kind of stick in. And again, the vertical ones are much cooler than the Riddler one, which is horizontal, because they can stick into the base and be the art card behind there. Alright, so here's Joker. He's great new. It looks like he's all new sculpt. There were some worries that it was going to be a repainted Joker from DC Universe Classics for a while there, because at one point Mattel showed a repainted DC Classics Joker, but this looks like it's the new mold. One thing I was a little disappointed by, and it's going to be really tough to make out on the video, but I'll try and zoom in here. That's as close as we're going to get, and it's going to be really tough for you to tell unless you take a look at the still pictures that we'll link up. But I thought the Joker was going to have a sculpted mustache with white painted over it, but it turns out that it's just a little bit of gray paint on his upper lip. We'll get into more how our feelings are on that when we get to the video. But it is just kind of a disappointing thing that I thought was going to be there, and it's not there. So there he is from the front. Take a look at him all the way around. He's got this nice rubbery overcoat, just like Penguin had. And there he is from the front. And then if you want to see him next to a couple of other figures from the line, here he is next to Batman. Zoom that out just a bit. Maybe bring it up. And next to Riddler. So there we go. So that way gives you a better idea of the size of Joker. All right. I guess that's all I have to say over here about him. So let's grab him up. We'll take him to the couch. We'll do the review. Hey everybody, welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Toy Talk review. As you can see with the opening sequence, we're finishing off the Mattel 60's figures with the Joker. This is the packaging. You saw it in the opening sequence. Yep. Not a lot to talk about here, other than that it's awesome. I love this packaging. I'm going to keep the card backs even though I opened the figures, just because it's really fantastic packaging. You were saying that you don't like the Joker art as much as the other stuff.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't remember that that's how it was in the theme song.
Yeah, the green
I didn't
outfit.
remember. I just thought they were doing that for weird coloring.
I think it's cool.
It is.
I think it's neat looking.
No.
Then we'll talk about the stand. We've got a Zap stand this time around. This one was your favorite, right?
Yes.
It's Zap in yellow on a green stickery background, which is pretty cool. And then we've got this Joker card art, which is awesome. I think it's fantastic looking. And then we get another piece of the Batcave background here. And it's looking more and more like they will all connect, because there's a chunk of the Batmobile this time around. I still really kind of don't get the cards. You're supposed to stick them in the background, but then the figure covers them up anyway. Not as big as the figure.
Why would Joker have the background of the Batcave?
I think you're supposed to open them all together, and it looks like they're all in the Batcave.
It would be cool if they actually did backgrounds that made sense for the characters.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep them as art cards. And what I decided to do was I took out the bottom piece of the packaging, and I cut it down a little bit, and I'm putting that in the back of each stand.
That's cool.
So now each one of them says who it is. Like I've got Joker, Penguin, Riddler as a kind of a burst behind the figure.
That's
which
cool.
I think is kind of neat looking.
It's cool.
So yeah, so I can keep my card art somewhere else and keep that with the figure and take it out of the package. So here's the figure. It's a new sculpt. There was a little bit of a debate before on what was going to happen with Joker, because one of the pictures that Mattel showed was actually just a repainted DC Classics Joker, which would have stunk.
Well, is it the Joker I have for DC Classics?
It is, but I mean, Cesar Romero is a little thicker than comic Joker. He's not like a really tiny, skinny dude. So it would have stunk for them to just reuse that body for this. This is a new sculpt. It's a little thicker than that DC Classics Joker, which makes sense for Cesar Romero. Let's do articulation first. It's got ankle joints, knee joints.
I'm so glad they didn't do the one that was the comics.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's got ankle joints, knee joints, a mid-thigh swivel, their weird kind of ball-jointed, odd, robotic-y hip thing, a waist, a ab crunch that's kind of tough to get to move because he's got this coat all around it. Yeah. Then a ball-jointed shoulder, a mid-bicep swivel, elbows, wrists, and a somewhat ball-jointed neck, but you can't get a lot of movement out of it. Right. Your eyes okay?
Yeah.
You all right? Okay.
Is it because of the rubbery coat again that his neck's like that?
I don't know. It just doesn't have a lot of movement to it.
That'd be good for me because I don't really like my figures.
You don't like to get the joints loose or anything like that. He's got this nice striping to his pants, which looks good, and everything kind of lines up if you get it in the right spot. Like we already mentioned, he's got that rubbery sort of waistcoat thing going on, with a green shirt on underneath and the purplish pink vest underneath, and his black tie thing going on with tails on the coat. The coat isn't too restrictive other than that one ab joint. Everything else can move around it. He's got one hand that's permanently pointing, which is kind of a bummer, because there's not a lot of posing options you can get other than pointing at stuff and like picking somebody's nose.
Did he
or something
do a
like
lot
that.
of pointing in the show?
Not really, not that I can remember. And he's got one hand that's a fist. So there's no accessories included with him, and there's nothing he can really use because he's got hands that are permanently stuck like this. Much like Riddler's permanently stuck with two fists. The head sculpt, I think, is really good. The hair especially is great. It's got a nice green wash and then a dark green wash, and it's got the waves that Cesar Romero had to his hair. The head sculpt itself is also good. It looks a lot like Cesar Romero Joker. The disappointing aspect is when we saw the prototype of this figure, it had a sculpted mustache that was then supposed to be like Cesar Romero had in the show. He had a mustache.
He did?
Yeah, and he refused to shave it for the show, so they just painted it over with white. So he had a mustache that was just painted over with white.
Okay, I never noticed that.
Yeah, he had that. So when we first saw the prototypes of the figure, it looked like it had a sculpted mustache that was then just painted over with white. On this figure, there is no sculpted mustache. It just has like a silverish gray paint over the lip. So it looks like he has a silver mustache.
That's horrible. Did they try to get him to shave his mustache?
They asked him if he would, and he refused.
Okay.
So I don't really know what Mattel was doing there. The only thing I can think of is that maybe in a 2-up scale of this sculpt, the mustache worked, and being painted over, you could still see it was mustache. When it gets shrunk down to production figure, maybe that mustache lines kind of almost disappeared underneath the white paint. So you ran into a problem where, okay, well now you can't tell he had a mustache under here, so we'll just hit it with some silver paint.
It seemed like it'd be even more noticeable, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's noticeable. You're supposed to notice he has a mustache under there. But using a silver paint to just paint on a mustache maybe wasn't the best move.
No.
I don't know. I was expecting more from that, and it's not a complete detriment to the head. I think the head still is great, and on a shelf, the silver, you don't see it as a distinct line so much. It kind of does look like maybe he's got a mustache on underneath there.
Despite the mustache, this might actually be like the best of the head sculpts I've seen.
I think I might agree with you. Out of all the head sculpts, I think it's the sharpest. I wish the mustache thing wouldn't have happened. I almost wish they would have just not even put the silver on there. That they would have just used white and said, you know what, we can't get the mustache to the scale, so there it is. instead of putting that silver on there, just let it be white. He's got the mouth open, and you can see his teeth and his tongue. It's a really, really good head sculpt. I would agree with you, Blaze. I think it may be the best head sculpt of the bunch. And the body sculpt may actually be the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
Because it isn't too, maybe on the skinny side like some of the others might be.
Built up just as the person is.
Yeah.
The penguin's body sculpt kind of worked.
Yeah.
For him.
You know, if they ever did like an 89 Batman 6-inch line, they could almost use this for a Jack Joker body. Because it's got the kind of the same build. Where Jack wasn't overly skinny, you know.
He was a built-up guy.
Yeah, so I think this one may be my favorite of the bunch with Batman. Other than that silver mustache, I think he's really, really nice.
They would have to create a new head for Jack Nicholson.
No, definitely. I'm just saying if they reused his body.
And I'd hope they would reuse different hands.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah.
I think it just makes a good Joker. Just a good old Joker, just to have a Joker. Classic Joker. Yeah, really dig this one. Again, hit the info section if you're watching this on YouTube. You'll check out pictures of it. I think that Batman and Joker are the two. Batman single card and Joker are the two best of the line. Penguin really close. Yeah. Penguin's really good. If he was maybe a smidge shorter, he would be right in there with those two. The line overall was much better than I thought it was going to be. So I'm pretty happy that Joker was a really sharp one. All right, so I guess that's it on this one, right?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to sign off on this.
We can't say same bad times.
I guess we can. If you want to subscribe, eventually we will have Catwoman, probably Surf's Up Joker, and maybe eventually Batusi Joker to finish off the whole line. Yeah, so I guess that's it.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next time.